The next session is about a very important topic, Gutenberg blocks. Gutenberg blocks, right from the inception, have given us taste of WYSIWYG editing inside our classical editor while we are creating or editing your posts or pages. Now comes the full site editing. Once that comes, the content creators have more power, more decision power to decide how their page looks. So, what does this mean for theme creators? So, we have Imran Sayed with us to tell us about block based themes, the future of full site editing in WordPress. Imran is a rockstar developer at Articamp. He is a WordCamp speaker, WordCamp organizer, WordPress meetup organizer, and a very passionate teacher who shares his experiences and knowledge on his YouTube channel. He is well experienced developer in Node, React, Laravel, and of course JavaScript. A very popular speaker at any WordCamp. Imran, we are excited to have you.
Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Imran and I work for Articamp. Articamp provides WordPress solution to enterprises, and today we are going to talk about a very interesting topic called block-based themes, the future of full site editing in WordPress. Let's begin. So many of you may have heard this term called full site editing, or in short FSE. So what do you think is the full site editing? Well, earlier it was only possible to edit the post and the page content within the editor. However, with the full site editing, which is currently experimental, you get the ability to edit the entire site. For example, you can change your site's header, footer, post, and even the single archive templates with minimal effort, all within the block editor. Now, isn't that amazing? Now, it will be interesting to know that the year 2021, which is the current year, will be the year of site editor. So there's a lot of interesting things coming up for you, a lot of which we will cover in this talk. Now, what is this site editor? Well, the site editor is the visual representation of the block templates that the theme developers offer to the users. The site editor easily allows you to navigate between the template hierarchy and edit them across the site. How it works is that the site editor engine keeps track of all the modifications, showing the user the overview of what's been modified. Now, a question might come to your mind that why even full site editing? What's the need for it? Well, I'm sure a lot of you would agree to me that Gutenberg received a lot of dislikes initially. However, it has matured over a period of time and it has turned a lot of unhappy faces into the happy ones. So now, if everything is going well, what is even the need for introducing this new concept called full site editing? Well, let's find out. Well, to be honest, Gutenberg project was never just about editing content. WordPress was an aging software by late 2016, and it needed to cater to the modern audience who may not be as tech savvy as the existing users. Now, there has been an increase in the interest of JavaScript amongst the younger generation of developers, and WordPress needed to capture that. WordPress needed an experience on par with the modern web applications, and WordPress had a lot of boxes it needed to check or face irrelevance. Introduction of block editor in the WordPress 5.0 gave the users ability to create rich content. However, it was limited to authoring the post and pages, and elements like header, footer, sidebar were left locked to the theme. And what do you think was filling this experience gap? Well, yes, you're right, the page builders. So page builders like Elementor were filling the experience gap that WordPress was missing. Core platform could not offer a better experience to both users and developers out of the box, and it required to shift the focus on working on making the compatibility with plugins rather than just focusing on the design. And WordPress definitely needed a revolution to cater to the modern needs. And phase 2 of Gutenberg, which began in late 2018, promised to bring the block outside of the post content. And with that, WordPress 5.8 and beyond will be all about the site editor and block-based themes, and a lot of it which we will cover in this talk. So, what are the benefits full site editing can bring to the table for the users? With full site editing, users can not only edit the individual post content, but also the block template that the individual post uses. And these templates are infinitely customizable by users from the WordPress admin. So that's pretty useful. While theme developers will create custom configurations and set defaults, it actually puts the user in control of what the site would look like into the front end. And you might say, like, oh yeah, I now have the power to control how my site is going to look like in the front end. So I get more control, basically. Now, many of you would agree to me that Gutenberg has been more of a consistent experience for editing elements across the WordPress interface. Now, Joseph mentioned last year that no user should have to learn different workflows to make sure that the page looks the way they imagine when it's published. It should be pretty simple, right? And this is where the full site editing helps the user by providing a consistent experience across the entire site as a single interface. It will be good to know that because the post editor and the site editor both work on the same underlying block-based foundation, users can seamlessly switch between the two. So as you can see in the screen, you have an edit option for that to switch between the two. At this point, the question might come to your mind that what are the new features that are coming in the WordPress 5.8 and beyond. So WordPress 5.8 and beyond will be all about the site editor and the block-based themes. It will be interesting for you to know that the widget and nav menu traditional admin screens will disappear. It might also interest you that Customizer, which has always been a center of a discussion for future improvements, will also disappear. And block-based themes can introduce new blocks that can be used throughout the full site editing. So we discussed about the benefits for the users, we discussed about what are the new things coming in the full site editing. Let's also talk about what are the benefits for full site editing for developers. Now, what's been observed that developers currently spend quite some time in switching between the code editor and their browser while developing a theme. Now this would change. With block-based theme, developers can spend most of the time in the editor itself. Developers can also create templates, apply base styles, and give a head start to the users with block patterns. Now with this, let me introduce you to block-based themes. So what do you think these block-based themes should be? So block-based theme conceptually is just an interaction of the HTML structure, content blocks, and some styles. We already have one of the block-based themes called 2021, short form as TT1, and it's now available on WordPress.org, so you can check that out. And let's take a quick demo of how that looks like and what are the features it offers when it comes to full site editing. So how do we use these block-based theme, let's say in this case 2021. So 2021 theme is available on WordPress.org, so you can go ahead and install and activate this theme. You need to make sure that you've also installed and activated the latest version of Gutenberg plugin 9.6 and above, and then go to Gutenberg Experiments and enable the navigation screen. Now if you go to Site Editor, you can see that you've got different templates available. So if you click on it, currently we are on the front page and you have an option on the left hand side where we have different templates available. You can see that each of these templates have a preview available as well. You have for posts, you have a single page preview, then you have the pages, and then you can select whichever template you want and you can edit it. So let's start with the front page. So as you can see that everything on the page is editable, which means the site title is editable, the site tagline, you've got navigation that's editable as well. You can also see that the footer is editable. So all of this that you see over here is editable. This is editable. Social icons editable. So the entire page is editable, including the header, footer. And let's do the post content. So if you would like to show the post, all you can do is just add a query block, and you can see that the query block gets added. It gives you certain options, whether you would like to show just title and date, title and excerpt, or image, date and title. Let's go with just a title and date. And as you can see now, we've got the post being displayed over here with the title and date. And you have the ability to add a featured image. So you can search for a featured image, post featured image block. And if you add it to one, you can see that it gets added to all of them. And you can also go ahead and change the layout. So you can see that you have an option to navigate between different blocks over here. So if you go to this query block, now you can see that you have the option to change the layout of that. So I can go with this layout, and now you can see the layout is changed. I can decide how many items I want to show on the page and how many posts that I want to show, how many articles I want to show per page. So all of those options are available. And let's go ahead and remove the query block. You also have options to add the block patterns. So this theme is shipped with the block patterns. So if you go ahead and see plus and you look at patterns, you can see that we have got list of the block patterns that are available. So you have media and text article, you have the overlapping images, so you can go with any of these. So let's go with this one. So you can now see that you've got this nice layout, and you can also go ahead and update the design with this new one. You can move it up if you want, and let's update the design. And now you can see that the front page is updated. And let's take a look at the front end. Now you can see that on the front end we've got the header, the footer, and the block pattern that we added with all these images. Of course, these are editable. You can go ahead and check out other templates also if you want to edit them. If you want to edit the post single page, you can click on it, you can edit it. Similarly, you can edit the other templates like 404. So you have a 404 template that you can edit. You can add a text over here, or you can add any content that you want. It already has the search option for searching the post. You can also add global styles. If you click on this and then you click on the global style, you'll see that you have all of the options available to change the background color globally. You can change the text color globally. So you've got all of these options available, and you can apply that to all of the templates. All right. Now another question might come to your mind, that why did it take so long for this full site editing feature to come? So let me share with you that Gutenberg was just getting its bearings in phase 1. Development team was not only working on creating the block editors that users can use, but they were also building the core foundation for future. And now that we have that foundation in place, the development team can focus on the features pertaining to full site editing. Now let's take a quick demo of how to create the block-based theme. Let's say if you're a developer, how easy, how simple it is to create the block-based themes, and what is it that's involved? What is this all about? So let's take a look at directory structure. So you have the theme, you have your style.css, functions.php, index.php, then you have experimental theme JSON file, block templates, inside of which I have got couple of templates like index.html, single HTML, archive, etc. Then you also have template paths like you generally have, but this will be HTML. So you have the header.html and footer.html that can be reused in multiple templates. And then you also have the sidebar HTML. Okay, so let's dig deeper into this. So how do we create the block-based themes? The first thing you need to do is you need to download and activate the Gutenberg plugin. The minimum requirement is 9.6 and above. I would recommend to use the latest. Remember that at the time of recording, this is not production ready. So this is an experimental phase currently. It's recommended to use WordPress 5.3 or higher, and for PHP it should be 7.3 or higher for compatibility. So let's start. So first thing we're going to do is install and activate the Gutenberg plugin, the latest version, and then, like I explained to you earlier, just go to Gutenberg, Experiments, Enable Navigation, and save it. Next thing we do is we go ahead and create a theme directory inside of WP content. So I have already isolated this so that we can focus on the theme, but as you can see, it is within the WP content themes folder. And I've got the assets folder, and I've got some basic styles inside of that. I have an index.js file, and as you can see, there's nothing inside of it. I have my style.css file, which are all the basic stuff. Then I have the screenshot.png, then I have some functions. Inside a function, I have just defined some constants and added some basic theme support of title tag, post thumbnails, block styles, align wide, editor styles, etc. And set some content width here, and then just included the style. So block-based themes are built using the HTML templates and template paths. The HTML templates reside in a directory called block templates, and this follows the standard WordPress template hierarchy. The difference is that this is an HTML file instead of a PHP. And because it follows the same template hierarchy, the index.html corresponds to index.php in WordPress, single.html corresponds to single.html, and so on and so forth. And then you also have optional template paths, which are placed inside of the block template paths directory. So these template paths can be reused throughout the site. For example, if you want to build a header, so you can create a block template path called header.html, or for footer, you can use footer.html, and then inside of your block templates, you can use these template paths. So each of these templates or template path contains block grammar, which I will explain to you in a moment, the HTML for the selected blocks. And the block HTML is generated in and exported from the site editor, which I will give you a demo in a moment. And it can also be added to the theme's HTML files manually. So what we will do is we'll create a directory and we'll name it as block templates. So let's create our first template and we'll name it as index.html. Remember, not index.php, it will be index.html. And then the next thing we do is the moment you go back to the WordPress dashboard and you hit refresh, you'll notice that now we've got this menu called Site Editor. And when you click on that, you'll notice that the page template that we've just created, which is index.html, is automatically available to you over here. So you can see that you've got the default template, which is used when no other template can be found. Now we're starting with the clean slate because we don't have anything here. So let's go ahead and create our first template part because we are going to need the header and the footer. So let's start with the header. So in order for you to create a template part, you'll just search for template and then you hit it. And now you can see that you have an option to choose between either an existing template part if you've created before or a new template part. So let's go with the new template part. Once you do that, it also gives you an option to add a title to it. So we can give a title of header since this is going to be a header. There will also be a slug for that, but we can update that later. Let's just go with the header. On the right hand side, what will be interesting for you to know, and that's HTML element. So since we are building the header, it will be nice to have a header tag instead of a div, right? So let's go with the header. So I've selected header here, and then you can also add an additional class if you want, like site header or something. And inside of this, I can add a group block as a container. And then inside of this, let's add a column block. Let's go with this one. I'll go with the site title block. So for the site title, we have the site title block available. Let's go ahead and add that. Now for the site tagline, we also have the site tagline block available. You can search for site tagline. So let's go with that. You can see you've got tagline available, and you must be wondering, what about navigation? Well, the good part is that we also have the navigation block available. So you've got two types of navigation block available. The first one is navigation horizontal and the second one is navigation vertical. Let's go with the horizontal, and I get two options, either to add all the pages or start empty. Now since I only have 4 pages, I'll go with this one. So you can see I've got sample page, about, event, home, all of this, all of these pages available as nav items, menu items, and I can also add a new one as well. I can put a link or a post link or page link, but let's just stick to this one. Now we've got a header template ready. The next thing we want is the footer template, right? So let's go ahead and add another template part. So let's do template part, and then I'm going to add a new template. Let's name it as footer. I'm also going to make the HTML element as footer, since this is a footer. Additional class can be site footer, and then inside of this I'll do group block, and inside of the group block I'll do columns. So I'll go with the 3 columns layout. The first thing I'm going to add, I can add the site title again, but this time I'll change the heading tag from H1 from in H1 to in H4, and then let's add some paragraph. So I've added some paragraph here, and I'm also going to add recent comments. So I've got recent comments block available, and then I'll also add comments. So I've got latest comments block available, so let's go with that. I can also add categories, so I have categories block available, so I'll go with this categories block. Let's go with that. So let's add, so inside of this let's add another group block, and then I'll add a paragraph, and then I'll put my paragraph, I'll align it center, and inside of the group block that we have available, which is this one, I'm going to give some colors to it. So let's go with colors. Let's give it black as background, and text color will be white. Okay, so you've got this here, which is great. So now I've got 2 templates. If you take a look at the page structure, we've got the first template and you've got the second template. Okay, the first template is actually the header, and the second template is the footer. Now besides the header and footer, we also need the content. So what you can do is you can create a group block again, and then inside of that you can create a query block, and then inside of that you've got your query block available. And if you click on the query block, you get the options to select either title and date, title and excerpt, title, date and excerpt, or image, date and title. I'm going to go with this one. So now you can see that you've got your featured image, your post date, post published date, your title of the post, and it's looping through the post for you. Okay. So now that we've got a header template, we've got footer template, and we've also got the content inside of this template, like a default content, which is basically looping through post. We can click on the update design. So we've got the update design button here. Let's click on that. And the moment you click on that, you can see that it automatically tells you that the template that you are editing is the index, and the template parts that you're using is the header and the footer. You can also select them from here. So you select them, you can see that this is the header. You select the footer, you can see that footer is selected. Brilliant. So let's click on save. So now that is saved and you've got a header, footer, and the content, if you go to the front end, you can see that your home page is showing all of this content that we have put in the template, right? Now we also need page templates for the single page and single post page. So let's do that. So just to show you that, this is where, so you can see that you've got the index template, right? And currently we only have one template. And then this is where you have your template parts. So currently we have header and footer, and you can also click on them to look at them in isolation. So you've got footer and you've got header, and you can actually create new templates as well. check over here in under appearance, you've got template and you've got template paths. So if you click on the templates, you can see under templates you have the index template, and then if you click on template paths, so in template paths you have the header and the footer templates, and the best part is that you can always edit it if you want to, and you can also work on them in isolation, right? Now let's go ahead and create another template, and let's go ahead and name it as page, because remember that each of the templates corresponds to the ones in PHP. So let's do the header and footer. So template paths, and then I'm going to choose an existing one, so I'll go with the header. So let's do the header. So let's do a group block. So I'm going to do group, and then I'm going to give it a class name of site content, and then we can do inside of this we can do post title block. So we have a post title block, and again this is going to be a placeholder, so you won't see anything until this page template is used on a single page. So that's why you've got this example title. And now let's do post content, and this will be a placeholder as well, so that's why you see a placeholder for content. And then let's add the featured image. So featured image, post featured image, and then finally let's do the footer template. So I'm gonna go over here, and then finally let's do the footer. So we'll do template part again, and this time I'm going to again choose the existing template, which will be the footer. Okay, so the footer, and then let's make sure you choose the footer here and give it a class name as site footer, and same thing over here. Let's choose the header, advanced, make sure this is a header and this class is site header. Okay, and let's publish it. So there you got page, and then if you go to the full site editing, and now if you click on browse all templates, you'll see that you've got another template available called pages, and then you have got general page, right? Now in the front end, if you go to any of the pages, let's say this sample page, you'll notice that I'm getting the title, the post content, as well as the featured image, which is great. So that's how you create the template. And now you must be wondering, how do I save this information into the code, right? So because so far I have gone ahead and created all of the templates in the editor, and that means that data is getting saved into the database. However, there would be situations where you want to, like if you want to open source it and give it to someone else to use. In that case, you would like some of the data for these templates to auto populate. So in that case, you'll definitely require that content. So how do we get that content? So if you go back to the site editor, I'm going to show you some magic. If you click on these three dots, and then you have an option over here that says export, and then you download your templates and template paths. So let's click on this one. So there you go, you can see that it's downloaded the edit site export. Let's open it up. And if you check, you've got block template and block template paths. The block template paths have got header and footer template paths, and then block templates got our page templates, which is index.html and page.html. All I have to do is just copy this and come back to our code, and then just go to our root and paste these two directories along with the files inside of them. So I can overwrite it because I'm going to use the ones that's been downloaded. So let's take a look. So this is your index page template, and if you take a look at the block templates inside of the index.html, you've got the block grammar over here, so you've got the comment delimiter, and you've got some data in JSON format. You've got the slug, which is the header. So if you take a look, so this slug is the header. Then you have the tag name header, you've got the class name, so remember we had set the class name as site header, and then you've got the group block of here, and remember we set the class name as site content. So this is all your content over here, this is all your content, all your posts. So we have the query block that's rendering the featured image, post date, post title, etc. And then you have the footer, and slug is footer, so this is footer. and you've got your tag name and the class name, right? Similarly, you have your page.html. So again, you have the header, the footer, and the content. Okay. Now, inside of the header, you've got your group block. So we have a header which has, if you take a look at the structure, we've got the group block, and inside of the group block we have the site. Inside of the group block we have got the site title and site tagline. So that's what we have over here, the site title, the site tagline, and then you've got the column block where we have the navigation links, etc. Okay, and then similarly you have the footer, and footer also has the group block, some paragraph, and some content inside of the columns. So take a look at the footers. You've got group, columns, and then you've got your comments, and then you've got categories. So latest comments and then categories block. Yep. So that's about it. Now let's say you want to create another page template. Now there are two ways to do it. First is you can create another template by going on to the templates and adding new, like we did for page, but you could also very well do it from the theme itself. So you've got these two templates for now, but we also need a template for single post. So what we can do is we can create an HTML file called post.html, and remember that post.html corresponds to the post.php as it follows the template hierarchy. All I have to do is, all we have to do is just copy the content of the page.html and paste it inside of the post.html. Now you might expect that you should get that template over here if you refresh. So let's see. So if I refresh, you see we don't get this template here. The reason for this is because it is not the one saved by the editor. It's the one created by the theme. So yes, it is going to be available if you go on to the site editor and then browse template. And then if you click on all over here, you can see you definitely have the post template that we did create. However, it's not going to be available into the database because we didn't save it, right? Now we could also make an edit to this template. So this is the post template we created. Maybe, so let's say we want to add the post date. So I'll click on post date. So the post date will be added, and if I go ahead and update the design, it's going to save that inside of the post template. And if I save it, and then if I go back to templates, you'll now see that it's available inside of our templates because it's saved into the database. Okay. So all of the templates that are saved by the editor get saved into the database. Now you must be wondering, where do they get saved, right? So your database, if you go to wp_post, and I'm going to head over to the last ones, you'll notice that this is actually saved as the custom post type. So take a look here. You see WP template over here, right? And it says that it's a post. And take a look at the URL for this. And if you notice, this is the post type. So post type is WP_template. So it gets saved inside of the custom post type WP template. This post is page template for single post. This one is the page template for the single page. And then this one is for template part. And that's the footer. And if you check over here, it's called WP template part. So your block template parts are saved under the post type name WP template part, which is this one. And your page templates are stored under WP_template. So these are your user templates which are stored, not the ones from the theme. Okay, cool. So it's not possible to cover up everything in this small talk. However, just to give you a glimpse of how everything looks like when put together. So take a look at this one. You've got header, footer, and then you can also have small template parts like you have in your theme. Like for the hero section, you can have your block markup, and then you can have image and title section. You can have sidebar similarly. And then all you have to do is just go to the block template parts, and whichever template you are working on, whether it's a front page, whether it's a page.html or single.html or 404, you can just include those template parts there, and you can use them the way you want to. So you can see that it's so simple for the less tech savvy people as well, because all they have to do is just create these templates and then get the markup, and then you just use it inside of the block templates. All right. Now at this point, you might think that there are so many changes that are coming, right, in full site editing. So how can developers cope up with such big changes? Well, there are a few things here that are important to note and consider. Now, the big phase 2 changes this year means that theme authors will need to get up to speed. Traditional WordPress themes will still be necessary for a while. However, any theme author who's not currently tinkering with the blog-based theme is already months behind. This is a great, I must tell you, this is a great time to explore and help shape the system to make it better. We can add a request for a new feature or even report a bug. Theme authors can attend bi-monthly blog-based theme meetings, and even if we don't get time, we can still read and participate on the Make Themes blog, which is at make.wordpress.org/themes. I also want to let you know that the information I have shared is as per what is available in Gutenberg at the time of recording. Now, there have been a lot of changes coming up and a lot of development work going on in the full site editing, and for latest updates you can attend the blog-based theme meetings and check out the latest news. We can also check out projects like QTheme or follow the Theme Experiments repository, where you have a lot of demo examples for the blog-based themes. Now, how can developers contribute? Well, there's definitely need to support the work outside of the template and template paths infrastructure. So developers can create blocks that are centered around the theme functions. So these includes block for the site title, navigation block, post title, content, excerpt, featured image, author, date, and plenty more. It can also include blocks for search, social icons, or even cart block for WooCommerce. Now let's take a look at some of the references that you can use if you want to learn more about full site editing. All of the links will be available in the presentation that I'll share after the talk is over, so you can take a look at that, but those will include the full site testing program, so it will be good if you start doing testing early before it's released and report any of the bugs or suggestions for any new feature request. QTheme. You also have the GitHub issues for full site editing, so you can check out what are the issues currently available. If you would like to contribute, you can definitely do that. You also have the block-based theme tutorial, which is on the WordPress.org as a documentation. It's got some basic information how to build a block-based theme and what are the different components that are associated with it. You have the block theme experiment repository, so you can actually go ahead and check out all of the examples that are available for block-based themes, and you can even create a new block-based theme and contribute by requesting for that to be added in the block-based themes repository. I've submitted a block-based theme myself called Phoenix. You can check it out. At the time of recording, it's currently under review. If you would like to learn WordPress, you can go on to learn.rtcam.com. It is a pretty extensive resource for learning WordPress. You can also go on to coditech.com/courses. This is an open source platform where you have different free resources for learning WordPress, JavaScript, React, GitHub, as well as Webpack, Babel. So there are a lot of free courses available that you can check out. Alright, that's about it. So thank you so much everyone for listening and giving me the time. And you can follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is Imran Sayed. And I'm happy to take your questions now. Thank you.